with XT, and today I am talking with Cade about his 2016 JKU. You have the 17 by 9 inch Dirty Life DT1 9303 series beadlock wheels with a negative 12 millimeters of offset. You have the 38 by 13.5 inch R17 Milestar Patagonia MT mud terrain tires. And then you also have kind of a mix going on with your suspension. You have the TerraFlex 4 to 6 inch coil springs, Falcon 2.1 monotube shocks, and the Rock Jock control arms, all coming out to 4.5 inches of lift. Can you tell me why you chose this setup in particular?
I started with the old lift kit because at first I was like, I just want to lift a Jeep and be sick and, mall crawler style. And then I started watching some Way of Life guys and Trail Recon guys. I was like, man, them guys were getting after it. I want to be able to do that. And then I had to completely start over.
Well, let's kind of get into the details of it. So let's start up with the wheels. So again, it has the 17 by 9 inch Dirty Life DT1 9303 series beadlocks with the negative 12 millimeters of offset. Why did you choose the styling of these? So obviously it's a beadlock, it's gonna have that kind of billeted look to it. Why did you choose this style?
I mean, in the alloy wheel department, there's a whole bunch of designs and stuff. And in the beadlock section, there's not really that many. And I just like the way these look. Now,
is there a reason why you chose black compared to any other color?
Most of my trim is black on the Jeep, so I was like, might as well just keep it the same.
Now, as far as the width of the wheel, so you have a 9-inch wheel. That width paired with a negative 12 millimeter offset gives the Jeep a really aggressive stance. Is there a reason why you chose that combo?
Well, when I had the 37s, I was rubbing a lot without a wheel spacer. I changed wheels too. I wasn't always running these. And those were a factory offset, so I think it was like a positive 12. So I had to throw on a wheel spacer. And then when these 38s and the beadlocks went on, I was like, maybe I can take the wheel spacers off, which initially I can't because the size of the tire, it still rubs on the frame rail just because it's so tall. So I still have to run the wheel spacers, but I don't want to have to jump up to a wider axle. That's too much. So I'll just wheel spacers.
How do you like the stance that it's at, kind of poking outside of that fender about an inch compared to the factory stance?
I like it to be able to keep me off of rocks, like the body off of rocks. Because here in the Southeast, we do a little bit of rock crawling, and these rocks are real slippery and they move a lot. So to me, being able to stay away from the body with the rocks, that was ideal for me.
Now, speaking of the tires and the wheels, are you happy with the sidewall size with the 17 paired with the 38-inch tire?
I am. Being able to air down to 9 PSI, it still looks like I can go probably down to 6 PSI with the amount of sidewall that I still have that's not bulging out.
So that kind of wraps it up for the wheels. And since we're on the topic of tires, let's get into it. So again, he has the 38 by 13.5 R17 Milestar Patagonia MT mud terrain tires. Can you tell me why you chose this tire? It sounds like you went through a couple to get to this one. Is there a particular reason why you chose this one?
I've ran the hybrid tires a lot and I like them a lot, mainly because of not having to buy new tires as often. But I wanted to kind of get away from the Alternate and hybrids and stick with a mud tire.
Now, why did you go with the 38? So you said you had 35s, weren't a fan. You had 37s, you thought you could go up an inch. Why did you stick with the 38 by 13.5?
The closer you can get to a 40, the better, I guess. Looking into the whole Dana 60 swaps and all that stuff, not quite ready for that. I don't think I'll ever go to a Dana 60 in the front, but I'm probably going to go to a semi-float 60 in the rear sometime in the future.
Now, you told me a little bit about how the tires drive, how they're pretty comfortable. Can you tell me a little bit more in detail? Are they quiet? Are they loud? Are they smooth? Or are they bumpy?
So far, I've had a pretty good time. I've had to test the air pressures. A lot of your on-road comfort comes from how much tire pressure you're running anyways. A lot of the manufacturer stuff say 35, 38, 40 PSI, and I'm like, it's a little too high. 32 is my sweet spot, but for these tires, because they're domed, you can't run 32 PSI, so I had to bump it up to 35. It's not that loud. It does get a little rough because it is a mud tire when you're at that lower speed, 10, 15, but when you get on at speeds, I can drive on the Interstate 75 and I ain't gotta have the radio loud to drown out the tire roar or nothing. I can have a conversation with my wife.
Now, how do they feel compared to the stock tires and even should I say the 35s? Do they feel any more sluggish with the 38s?
No, not with the gearing. Now, I had 35s with stock gearing and it was terrible. Like, I could barely ever stay in fifth gear. And I was like, man, this is just not ideal. I talked to our local, gear setup guy, and he said, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I was like, if I want to get the 37s, eventually, he said, well, just go ahead and go with the 488s. And I think you'll be more than happy with them.
Now, besides the gears, did you have to recalibrate for the 38?
Yep, I had to because of my Jeep. When you change stuff like that, it would throw codes and it would shut the Jeep down. I bought the Super Chips Trail Dash 2 and I recalibrated all because you can just go in there and plug in your tire size and your gear ratio and all that stuff.
Let's get into the suspension. So again, you're working with the TerraFlex 4 to 6 inch coil springs, Falcon 2.1 monotube shocks, and the Rock Jock control arms, all coming out to about 4.5 inches of lift. Can you tell me why you chose to create a suspension with a couple of different components?
It was more of the play around and figure it out kind of thing. I had the 37s on just a 3.25 inch regular lift, without adjustable control arms. And I was like, well, if I want to be able to run these tires, I got to be able to have adjustable control arms. So I went with the Rough Country.
Now, why did you go with a 4.5 inch?
My dedicated crawl rig that I have is a 2-door and it was lifted 6 inches. I mean, it was dedicated, to have the most up travel as possible. And I was like, I really don't need that much up travel out of my 4-door because on the on-road. Plus, I wanted something to be a little bit lower for my wife to get in and out of.
So it sounds like you have a little bit of rubbing, but you had a lot of rubbing before. Is that wheel spacer kind of the trick to get rid of some of that rubbing in addition to the negative 12 millimeter offset?
I think so. In a wheel this size, without having to, go and buy a whole new axles and all that stuff, I think it's the trick. I went to full lock and I looked and I'm probably a 1/2 inch from my frame rail. So I think it's pretty ideal and perfect for my setup.
Well, that kind of wraps up all of my questions. Thank you again for talking with me. So again, you have the 2016 JKU Wrangler, 17 by 9 inch Dirty Life DT1 at 9303 series B-block wheels with a negative 12 millimeter offset, 38 by 13.5 R17 Milestar Patagonia mud terrain tires, and the TerraFlex 4 to 6 inch coil springs, Falcon 2.1 monotube shocks, and the Rock Jock control arms, all coming out to 4.5 inches of lift. Again, Cade, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you for having me on. This has been awesome.
And for all things Jeep, make sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.